Several blockbuster trades and notable free agent signings have transpired since our last edition of the 2024 NFL Power Rankings.
Number 1.
The Chiefs. The salary cap increase from the NFL allowed them to sign Drew Tranquill, because is going to stay there, and Chris Jones.
With the draft drawing ever closer, it feels like the perfect time to dive into a new batch of Power Rankings. Preparing for the Draft Edition. Number 32, Carolina Panthers. Last time's ranking, 32. The Panthers don't have a first rounder this year, but they do own 2 early second-round selections in the number 33 and number 39 picks. The trade for Deontay Johnson was a nice piece of work and all, but you gotta think that one of those 2 second-rounders will be used on a wide receiver, right? Number 31, Denver Broncos. Last time's ranking, 30. With limited draft capital, the Broncos are unlikely to trade up. The real question is if they'll reach for QB like Oregon's Bo Nix or Washington's Michael Penix Jr., or if Sean Payton will confirm his master plan to tank for Shedeur Sanders. Jarrett Stidham is currently the top QB on the Broncos depth chart. If competition isn't added at the draft, then just go ahead and pencil the Broncos down for a top 5 pick next year. Number 30, New England Patriots. Last time's ranking, 31. First, it was Drake May going to Washington at number 2 overall. Then Jaden Daniels. Now apparently J.J. McCarthy's in the running. Alright, so the assumption is that the Patriots will stay at number 3 and take one of those remaining quarterbacks. But if Jared Mayo and Elliott Wolf aren't keen on whichever QBs are available, then, well, look for the Pats to trade down. Number 29, New York Giants. Last time's ranking, 29. The Giants hold the number 6 pick, and GM Joe Shane has all sorts of choices with it. Some believe that he'll look to take a quarterback to succeed Daniel Jones, but odds are high that the big 4 QB prospects are going to be gone by then. If it's not a QB, then you gotta think that the GM will take a wide receiver here. I mean, one of them will be available when it's New York's turn to pick. Number 28, Arizona Cardinals. Last time's ranking, 27. Arizona GM Monty Austinfort recently stated that his team is open for business regarding the number 4 pick. The Redbirds may find it hard to pass on a prospect like Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's there at number 4, but a QB-needy team just might propose an offer that's way too hard for them to pass up on. Remember, Austinfort traded in the first round twice a year ago. The Cardinals are the real wildcard team in this year's draft. Who knows how they'll use the number 4 pick? All we do know is that they aren't taking a quarterback with Kyler Murray in the fold. Number 27, Minnesota Vikings. Last time's ranking, 26. The Vikings are also on QB watch heading into the NFL draft, as they're reportedly smitten with J.J. McCarthy, but would Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr. actually be an option if they can't trade up for the Michigan signal caller? Minnesota has 2 firsts this year, so they have the assets to move up for a top QB if necessary. But don't be surprised if a blockbuster deal just doesn't happen until draft day, because many will have to see how the first 3 selections play out before deciding on if they actually want a quarterback. Number 26, Tennessee Titans. Last time's ranking, 28. The Titans move up 2 spots here thanks to their trade for ex-Chief star cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. If he comes as advertised, well, Sneed is gonna single-handedly transform the dynamic of that Tennessee secondary. Signing Calvin Ridley and trading for Sneed shored up 2 major weaknesses for the Titans. It seems like every mock draft these days has them taking an offensive lineman at number 7. Don't you think that Will Levis would love a Peter Skoronski-Joe Alt tandem protecting him for years to come? Number 25, Washington Commanders. Last time's ranking, 25. The Commanders aced the early stages of the offseason with a series of savvy free agent signings, but the real excitement will begin once they turn over their card and announce a QB at number 2. It's either May, Daniels, or McCarthy. Bottom line, Washington is getting a budding star signal caller to usher a new era of Commanders football. Hard not to be excited in DC right now. Number 24, Los Angeles Chargers. Last time's ranking, 22. As we said in our last edition of the Power Rankings, the Bolts seem content to begin a rebuild under the new regime of Jim Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz. The departures of Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler certainly suggest so. With the number 6 pick, we'd love to see the Chargers pair Justin Herbert with Marvin Harrison Jr. or Rome Odunze. Number 23, Las Vegas Raiders. Last time's ranking, 24. The Raiders seem to like Aiden O'Connell, and Gardner Minshew is a suitable insurance option. But Antonio Pierce reportedly loves Jaden Daniels, so you can only wonder if the Raiders are trying to move up for the Heisman Trophy winner. If a QB in round 1 isn't an option, then look for the Raiders to address the defense. Standout corners Quinion Mitchell and Terrion Arnold make a lot of sense here. Number 22, Seattle Seahawks. Last time's ranking, 23. The Seahawks' two biggest moves thus far were re-signing star defensive lineman Leonard Williams and trading for QB Sam Howell. It's easy to link the Hawks to local kid Michael Penix Jr., and it'd be a fun story and all. But it also feels like a bit of a stretch with Howell and Geno Smith on the QB depth chart. Seattle has holes in the secondary and on the L-line, especially with Damian Lewis gone. This could be a best player available sort of pick for Mike McDonald and John Schneider, but we'll see. Number 21, New Orleans Saints. Last time's ranking, 21. Aside from the signing of Chase Young, it has been awfully quiet this offseason for New Orleans, and that indicates that they want to run it back with the same aging core. Playing with fire? Yeah, we'd say so. New Orleans only picks twice in the top 149, so don't be surprised if they trade down to stockpile more picks. If they stay at number 14, we're gonna guess an offensive lineman or potentially a QB like Bo Nix if he's still available. Number 20, Indianapolis Colts. Last time's ranking, 20. Aside from extending Grover Stewart and Kenny Moore, and from swapping out Gardner Minshew for Joe Flacco, it has been a quiet offseason in Indy. What we do know is this: the Colts have their QB in Anthony Richardson. With no glaring roster holes, it feels like Chris Ballard will go with the best player available here at number 15, though trading down is very much in play as well. Number 19, Chicago Bears. Last time's ranking, 19. Landing Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift as new offensive weapons made for a great start to the offseason. But the real champagne-popping moment will come when Roger Goodell announces that the Bears are taking Caleb Williams first overall. Stay patient, Bears fans. The franchise-changing day is drawing closer. Number 18, Jacksonville Jaguars. Last time's ranking, 17. The Jaguars are another mushy middle team. Henceforth, it's difficult to project where they'll go with the number 17 pick. If they stay put at 17, Trent Baalke could target a cornerback to address a very leaky secondary. But adding another offensive lineman for Trevor Lawrence wouldn't be the worst move either. We're just saying. Number 17, Los Angeles Rams. Last time's ranking, 18. The Rams move up a spot after signing former Bills superstar cornerback Tre'Davious White to a one-year deal. Injuries derailed his final years of the team, but White is an all-world difference maker when on the field. And for the first time since 2016, the Rams are slated to pick in the first round with the number 19 pick. They could go anywhere there, but you do wonder if Sean McVay is intrigued by the idea of drafting Matthew Stafford's successor. Number 16, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last time's ranking, 16. With 4 picks in the top 92, the Bucs have limitless options heading into the draft. The only virtual guarantee is that they won't take a QB. Not after extending Baker Mayfield. History suggests that they'll address the front 7 early again, which makes sense following Shaq Barrett's departure. The Carlton Davis trade to Detroit also strongly suggests that the Bucs will draft another corner to replace the ball-hawking stalwart that played a key role in their Super Bowl 55 championship winning season. Number 15, Atlanta Falcons. Last time's ranking, 15. Just about every mock draft has the Falcons addressing the defense, and yeah, rightfully so. Kirk Cousins' arrival means the offense is geared up and ready for takeoff. Now, let's just bring in one more game-wrecking defensive player in round 1 to put a cherry on top of a great A offseason. Number 14, Pittsburgh Steelers. Last time's ranking, 17. The Steelers' facelift continued with the signing of Pro Bowl return man Cordarrelle Patterson. Keep in mind that Pittsburgh OC Arthur Smith was the head coach who turned Patterson into a do-it-all star back in 2021. Adding Russell Wilson and Justin Fields made this offseason near perfect in Pittsburgh. We'd like to see them get one more pass-catching weapon in one of the early rounds just to complete this offensive makeover. Number 13, Miami Dolphins. Last time's ranking, 9. Aside from Raheem Mostert's 2-year contract extension, it has been a rather quiet last couple of weeks in South Beach. Given his quiet activity on the trade market and in free agency, we can only guess that GM Chris Grier is ultra confident that he'll shore up the team's remaining weaknesses in the draft. Number 12, Buffalo Bills. Last time's ranking, 8. Curtis Samuel was their big notable signing, and even he was an overpay at $24 million. And with only 2 picks in the top 127, the Bills aren't exactly in good position to replace the many big-name talents that they lost this offseason. This team is much closer to missing the playoffs in 2024 than a Super Bowl championship. Number 11, Dallas Cowboys. Last time's ranking, 10. Now, I mean, the one silver lining that we can think of, the Cowboys usually crush it at the draft, so heck, maybe Jerry's saving his best for last. On another note, how about going ahead and extending Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb already? Number 10, New York Jets. Last time's ranking, 16. Since our last power rankings were posted, the Jets added to their dangerous defense by acquiring superstar pass rusher Hassan Reddick in a trade with the Eagles. Reddick, Tyron Smith, Mike Williams, yeah, perfect short-term win-now moves by GM Joe Douglas, who can put the final stamp on a rather superb offseason with the number 10 pick. Number 9, Green Bay Packers. Last time's ranking, 8. The Packers made their big free agent moves already by signing Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney, so expect GM Brian Gutekunst to lay low until the draft, where the Packers brass always seem to do their best work. Number 8, Cleveland Browns. Last time's ranking, 9. Because of the Deshaun Watson trade, the Browns won't pick until 54th overall, and they only have 5 picks altogether. But hey, don't worry too much. This is a team in win-now mode that got even better with the acquisition of Jerry Jeudy anyway. And Jameis Winston and Tyler Huntley were savvy pickups to replace Joe Flacco. Truthfully, it's just a matter of the Browns actually staying healthy. Number 7, Cincinnati Bengals. Last time's ranking, 7. The longer the T. Higgins situation drags on, it feels the more likely he stays with the Bengals. Not that Joe Burrow is going to complain. With a compensatory pick in their back pockets, the Bengals have 4 picks in the top 100. If they're not confident in keeping Higgins long-term, well, don't be surprised if Duke Tobin takes a wide receiver with one of his first 2 picks. Number 6, Houston Texans. Last time's ranking, 5. Having traded their first-round pick to Minnesota, the Texans aren't slated to make a selection until number 42. Not that we would really worry, though. The Texans have already won the offseason by bringing in Stephon Diggs, Neil Hunter, Danico Autry, Azeez Al-Shaair, and Joe Mixon. This team is locked in and ready to compete for a Super Bowl following a rather surprising Elite 8 appearance last year. Number 5, Philadelphia Eagles. Last time's ranking, 6. Philly resolved the Hassan Reddick drama by dealing the star pass rusher to the New York Jets. That move was expected following the extension of Josh Sweat and the signing of Bryce Huff. Don't be surprised if Howie Roseman wheels and deals at the draft as he usually does. But for now, they have 3 picks in the top 53. The signings of Huff, Saquon Barkley, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson have already made for a great offseason in Philly anyway. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens. Last time's ranking, 4. The Ravens have lost a lot more than they gained this offseason, but we're trying not to worry too much because of 2 things. 1, they signed Derrick Henry. And 2, the draft hasn't come yet, and no team drafts better than the Ravens. Number 3, Detroit Lions. Last time's ranking, 3. Seeing how close they were to reaching the Super Bowl last year, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are certainly doing the right thing and not tinkering with the roster too much. The Lions picked 3 times in the top 73. Plenty of options are here for Holmes, who's never shy in moving up or down on draft day. The Lions could go anywhere with their picks, but we'd like to see them take another corner in the early rounds. Number 2, San Francisco 49ers. Last time's ranking, 2. Like the Bengals with Higgins, everyone is keeping an eye on the Brandon Ayuk situation in San Fran. Will he be extended, traded, or will he play out the last year of his deal? The reigning NFC champs need to decide quickly. If they end up trading Ayuk, then the Niners have to get a wide receiver in the first round. Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. Last time's ranking, 1. The reigning Super Bowl champions have been able to lay low since extending Chris Jones, landing Marquise Brown, and trading L'Jarius Sneed to Tennessee. We've seen the Chiefs find quality, cheap replacements for old stars like Tyreek Hill, Tyrann Mathieu, and Juan Thornhill. So we have no doubt that they'll ace the draft as usual too. As long as Patrick Mahomes is here, the Chiefs are the team to beat. But what changes would you make to our latest NFL power rankings? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, well, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.